welcome to the North American Bear Center's live broadcast. My name is Scott Edgett. I'm the director, and we're going to be having Spencer coming on here right now. He's our biologist here, and we want to say a shout-out out there to Dr. Lynn Rogers. But today at the North American Bear Center, we welcome you, right, Spencer?
Yeah, welcome everybody to our first live broadcast of the year, I think.
We were having some interesting struggles with, believe it or not, our fantastic internet yesterday. We were a little worried about having to postpone the broadcast.
Yeah.
But we want to welcome everybody out there to the live broadcast of the North American Bear Center. This is a little bit of everything today. We haven't been on air for quite a while, but it's going to be about our season and its opening that's coming up, and it's going to be about bears, it's going to be about volunteers, it's going to be about
General updates
on many things, but we'll start today saying thank you out there for joining us, and welcome to our live broadcast, right?
Yeah, welcome everybody.
But it's kind of funny because no sooner did we have internet issues yesterday, which we haven't had with our new high-speed, updated, fantastic 1 gigabyte internet, which has really improved our cameras and our broadcast stuff. But all of a sudden it went down, and I thought, well, go figure. We're not going to be able to do the broadcast. But this morning,
back up and running.
Being on the phone and getting it back up and going, CTC was able to help us out, and we thank them for that, and get it back up and running. But it was out across the town of Ely, I understand CTC was. It's a new company that's here in Ely. It's fiber optics. And they ran a line all the way from town to here specifically for us,
right,
which was pretty amazing. But we were worried with all of our winter weather that we've had that maybe something happened to our line, but it turned out that it was all across Ely that it was happening. Then we come in this morning, and we're getting all ready to go, and thanks to Morrow from Custom Theaters of Ely. He got our camera hooked up here so we could broadcast inside, and that way we definitely couldn't get kicked off air because of the weather. Because weather has been pretty much our news this whole year.
Yeah, and we've been able to broadcast indoors to, alleviate that. But
and it's raining out there pretty good right now.
Yeah.
So we had snow, we've had rain, we've had schnizzle. You name it, we've had it. And we've actually had it with winter.
Yeah.
I mean, we are reporting right now, upwards of 30-plus inches of ice on the lakes. You were out ice fishing.
Yeah, I was out yesterday for a little bit.
And how deep is that ice? How thick?
You still got to use your whole auger to get to the bottom of the ice and the start of the water. It's pretty thick, at least 30 inches.
So for those of you who don't know what an auger is, they cut holes in the ice with it to go down so they can drop a line in an 8 to 10-inch hole and hope a fish swims by that little 8-inch area. That's how I look at it. But the extensions on them are up to what length?
You can get anywhere from 8 inches to 12, but total, when I start drilling the hole, my auger starts here.
Yep.
There's about that much of motor, and I go just about down to the bottom of it. So
and what would you say the length of that is?
I would bet you're right on the money with about 30 inches or 36, depending on the lake.
And we were told by our local DNR guy that was on air for us that the ice is as thick as he's ever seen it. And he was actually on during Give to the Max broadcast, Anthony was. And he said that it was as thick as he's ever seen it, correct?
Right, and I bet there's some lakes you could still reasonably drive a vehicle on if you're...
Oh, absolutely. They are on Birch Lake.
Yeah, right, so there's still a lot of ice.
And friends of mine that are mushers that take trips out to Boundary Waters, campers out there on the ice, said that they're hitting 36 inches of ice in many spots out on some of the lakes.
They're probably able to extend their season a bit, too, which is pretty nice for them.
Yeah.
Normally they're probably not running dogs this time of year.
No, actually, this has been one of the longest years I've been able to run dogs on sleds that I could remember. But what that actually goes to is what we're experiencing right now. We've had to already, we'll dive into our opening dates, extended to the 22nd, which is next Friday, this coming Friday, and it's looking like we're going to have to extend that even toward the 29th, which would be the end of this month, because we've got, it's probably up over Sharon's shoulders out there right now, so it'd be about to my knees. But just kidding and picking on her, because it's good to have Sharon back here, and she'll be here in just a few minutes to talk. But that is always an exciting part of our years to see Sharon back and know that, the season's going to start, but unfortunately she's like, well, what do I do? And I said, well, we're probably not going to be opening. I mean, we got too much snow out there, and below that snow is a great big thick layer of ice.
Yeah, that was not fun to deal with.
No, it's not at all. We had to dig the food shed out.
Drain too. With
and the drain, yeah, because we were worried about water flushing back. But I think you can see the pile of snow in front of the shed, so that we could get Sharon in there so that she could get some food up to a fully recovered, awesome-looking Ted. And I don't want to take the thunder from Sharon, but she'll go over that. But it was quite the relief to see the cameras zoom in. Those cameras are amazing. To zoom in on Ted's mouth and see how fantastic it looked. You wouldn't even know it.
No, you definitely wouldn't be able to tell. I mean,
Yeah,
it looks great. He's really recovered, and it looks awesome. And he was, like you said, we'll let Sharon talk about
we'll let Sharon talk about that, even though I do want to say one more thing. I was really excited, personally, to hear him making his noises that he's always made. I actually felt a little bit emotional at that point. It's like, wow, he can still make that grunting noise, his little soft noises that he makes.
Well, that's something that's unique to Ted, and obviously
it
love
is.
That about him, so it's good to hear it.
Yeah, but anyway, Sharon will talk about that. And well, let's talk some more about Ted. I'm just kidding. Sharon's over there smiling, but she's wondering what she's going to have to say. But getting back to the weather and the opening, it seems like every year we're saying goodbye to our awesome person that keeps this Bear Center spotless clean. She's a nice gal. We'd introduce you to her, but I don't want to bring her on live right now. But because we don't want to veer off from our what we're talking about. But getting back to the weather and what we've been dealing with, this has been a fantastic year for snow.
Yeah, we're really happy in light of the lack of precipitation this past year.
Exactly, and although we were getting a little bit bummed out about this dreary weather or snow that we're still getting, it's not unusual.
Right, and the truth is we need it.
And the truth is we need it badly. So when you see it coming down, although the Bear Center ain't opening up and there just ain't people in town, we need this moisture. We are so deep in a deficit for moisture from that last drought that we really don't need the fire situation to arise here in the spring when it can be quite high.
I think it could probably rain every other day through May, and we'd probably be on track then,
Yeah,
so we could use a lot of moisture.
Right. And that'll bring the lakes back up that were dropped to a considerable level, even including some of the poor lakes that got water dipped out of them.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly from the fires that we dealt with this year, or this last year. But getting back off of last year, and it was another unique year of COVID conditions and adjustments in that we are opening up full bore when we can open with normal conditions, which is an exciting thing for all of our employees, our interns, our volunteers. The staff is excited. We'll be back to full capacity in every which way, although we did have fairly full capacity last year.
It seems like it's been a while since we were able to just operate like that,
Just seems like it's just nice to be back to what we would call normal. But, the thing that it's going to impact, is going to be weather this year. We don't have COVID. We don't have this. Now our impact is weather. Yeah. And we've had to change the date a few times over the years. Or more.
Historically, we open mid-April.
Yeah.
It's always been left up to what the weather's like that year.
Yeah. And we just don't have anybody that's up in the area yet that we'd be worried about as far as losing business. But I know Dr. Lynn Rogers would like to see us open much earlier. We'd actually like to be open year-round if we had the ability to be, but there's just nobody up here.
Right.
It's not just the weather. There's just the snowmobilers and skiers that come up here. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They come up, they snowmobile, they ski, and they leave. And they come for weekends or such.
You can't snowmobile through the museum, so.
No,
we
could. Well, they could have this year, But looking at my list here, just going into what we were talking about, I'm going to skip right away to weather, and I'm going to skip to what's going on in our world. And that is shipping is still tight and tough, and we've got some situations going on over in the areas. Everybody knows about Ukraine and everything that's going on there and around our world. And to give you a little update, we've been heavily on our enclosure folks that are building our fencing, that everybody has participated in donating and did an amazing job over the last 3 years of getting a heck of a good amount of money into that kitty for the new enclosures, the bear enclosures themselves, and all the fencing. And been in touch with CLD Fencing and we're obviously going to have some issues. And although I didn't want to hear it and I wasn't willing to accept it, I had to. And that is that they're building the fencing. We put some pictures on our Facebook page of the gates that they're making that are going to be amazing. The production is going along pretty good. They've had some issues with getting product like everybody else has, and you're seeing it across the world and the United States. They got all that stuff, and they're building the fencing, and they project it to be done about the end of next month. The problem that we're running into is shipping. And to no surprise, they were first said, nope, it's not going to be a problem. We can't ship it on a ship because they're so backed up in all the ports. And they're not allowing shipping to go out of the UK. That's where our fencing is coming from. That's where they build the zoo fencing, is the United Kingdom. And so therefore, they're going to have to they're going to go to air shipping. Well, then they said, I want to say back in early January or mid-January, that air shipping was no longer an option because it tripled in price. So it went from $26,000 up to $75,000 plus. And that was if they could get it on there. Sharon, could you close that door? I'm hearing backfeed in there. So then discussing it with them on and on and on, we found out that the only option we have is shipping in a boat, actually a shipping container over here. Well, it started out that they were saying we should see the fencing by, probably mid-June. Looking at everything that's going on right now, they're not allowing a lot of shipping to come out of the UK area, and because they don't want the ships sitting in the ports here in the United States. Looking at what I can for news and everything else to see if shipping's actually freeing up in those ports, it doesn't look like it is. It looks like they're backlogged like crazy still, even though we haven't been seeing much of it on the news. That's what they're showing. We're hoping that we get it by July or August, which would give us a little bit of a problem for installation in the fall because bears start to hibernate and they start to move slow and they start not to listen to Sharon like little kids. And they start just wanting to go to sleep. So we're going to work on it. We're looking at probably starting sometime in fall. They'll start here by the viewing deck area and go all the way up to the new Ted enclosure will get done. And then we try and move Ted down to that enclosure if we could. And we go up as far as Ted's old enclosure, where Lucky now stays when he's out and about. So we would actually build up to that point this fall, and then in spring we would start and finish the rest. This is all subject to change based on when we get the material, the fencing and such. Can't say that I'm not disappointed, but I can say that I understand.
Right. It's what the world we live in right now, correct?
Yeah, it's what we're dealing with. And unfortunately, the money's there. It's all taken care of. It's all earmarked and not being touched, gaining interest, gaining whatever it can. And we're just looking for your support and shout-outs to help us understand that we were really very excited about getting this going this fall or spring, and it don't look like it's going to happen.
It might be a fall project now. So
we obviously can't do the project while we're open. And, we could have did it while we were on a soft open, which would have been in May. And I don't even know if the weather would have allowed.
Right. I mean, in hindsight, because that's 2020, it would have been really tough because we still have a lot of frozen ground out there, and it doesn't look like it's going to be gone anytime soon.
And, the staff had to put up with my and Kathy and others, my complaining about, the shipping and being bummed out about it, but it is what it is. So that moves us on to our next subject, and that is the safety of the Bear Center for the bears is the most important thing we've got. And we need those bears protected, and we need them protected, and we have to have safety measures in place with the USDA and with Sharon and with the Bear Center to make sure that we're taking good care of our bears. And I'm going to cough here just a second. And what that does is brought us to the point after the fire season that we had last year and losing one of our spots where we could bring the bears. We had to decide on purchasing cages that we could transport the bears in should there be a fire situation to get them to safety. We experimented with one of those cages with the Ted move to the University of Minnesota to get his surgery. And that cage was a wonderful thing to be able to use. Thank you, Minnesota Zoo. They let us use that cage. Thanks to Sean and Kristen for going down and getting it and bringing it back up here, and then hauling Ted back down and bringing him back. But that cage worked out really well. The cages that we have ordered were roughly $60,000 for 4 of them. They're bigger. In my opinion, they're nicer. And they were supposed to be here this month. But
shipping.
Material in shipping.
Material and
mainly material. The cages are being, and COVID caused a lot of it. The cages are being built here in the United States. The problem that they had was getting the raw aluminum for those cages. The beautiful part of it was is we were protected in our pricing of the raw aluminum, which went up dramatically. I mean, it went up a lot. And we were protected in that because we prepaid for them, which was excellent. The problem that they ran into was getting the materials and getting the staff in the factory to be able to put it together, because they had a huge COVID outbreak in their factory come the end of January, February. So they had a skeleton staff for a while. It starts to get to the point where you think, man, that's all I'm hearing is can't get inventory for the gift shop.
Right.
Can't get this, can't get that, and can't isn't usually in our vocabulary as a group. But it's becoming acceptable. So now they're saying the cages should be here by no later than end of May. Arrival. Shipping isn't going to be that big of a deal because they're coming from within the United States. But we should be seeing those at the end of May or the beginning of first week of June, so it'll be just about when fire season's kicking in. But that way we're going to have 4 safe cages here, and that will definitely relax all of us and Sharon to have a method to be able to move our bears should we have to with fire. We learned a lot over the summer with this fire.
Right.
We really did. So moving along, that gives you a little update on those 2 big projects. First one would be the enclosure project and the new bear dens and everything. Second one would be the bear cages. Third thing goes as the Bear Center is getting ready to open. We've had Deb, who is our retail store manager. She manages all the retail. Has been working hard and getting our store cleaned up and looking nice. She shampooed all the carpets. She just was proud today about how nice she's got the entrance carpet looking, and it does look really nice. So we've got that going. I can't tell you we don't have big snowbanks outside, so they'd be trampling on our brand new clean carpet. But she did all the carpet throughout the Bear Center, and that door's open again. I don't know how, but somebody keeps walking through it, but we can hear an echo. But as you look on the cams out here, aren't those cams amazing?
Oh, they're so nice.
You can see the snow, and you can see what wonderful weather we're having today. But inside, everything is together and coming along and looking good. Is there anything you want to add to that?
We're just real excited to get people in
here.
I think it was, I mean, as much as, we get done in a lot of work time in the off season, come spring, we're just like the Bears. We're ready to see people. And we're excited. I don't know if anyone got to see that footage of Holly being all excited the other day for spring, but we're excited too, and it just kind of stinks that we have to push it back. But like you said, our hands are kind of tied. We're under the weather to make that move, but we're just really excited to see people here soon.
And the funny part of it is we look at things that we've done here, and Carolyn's been working hard on stuff, and she'll talk about that in a little bit, so I don't want to take that away from her. But she's been getting some of the stuff updated, and she's got some pretty neat things to talk about in 2 different areas. But, the whole game here is get us open so we can start moving the mission forward. And our theme this year and from now on is going to be Dr. Lynn Rogers' mission that they set out years ago for the North American Bear Center. And that mission says it all about the truth about black bears and teaching people. And we are going to be very mission-driven because Dr. Lynn Rogers deserves that, and the Bear Center deserves it, and the people deserve to learn it. So that's one of our biggest themes is back to the mission and stay at the mission. and make Dr. Lynn Rogers proud of what he worked so hard for all those years and all the volunteers that helped, too. Volunteers were an integral part of that whole process.
Still are.
And I know he'd want to say hi to everybody out there. And he just turned 83 years old last Saturday.
Yeah, we had some
83.
pizza to celebrate.
We had pizza on Thursday to celebrate. And he just was smiling from ear to ear, eating his pizza. He got to take the leftovers home.
He was really excited about it.
He was. But he's out there and smiling big all the time, and he's a lot of fun he stops in often and visits, and I know he's excited about it opening too, but I know he'd want to say thanks to everybody out there. Spencer, let's see, is there anything else? I'm going to look at my list here that I got. One of the other things we'll go over, and I'm going to keep talking here until we get to the important people, will be we've been working on the nature trail.
Yes,
why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we've had a few different groups helping us out with that. We've had a few different volunteer groups come in from the local community college, Vermilion Community College. They have classes that have been coming out here, and they also have some clubs. Several of them, actually. One of them was doing some cutting. Two of them are doing cutting. Mm-hmm. They're getting rid of some old dead trees that were part of the reason we had such big fire issues last year. Real quick explanation, we have bugs that ruin the trees that aren't supposed to be here. They're invasive.
What they called?
They're called Spruce Budworm.
Okay.
And they ruin a lot of the balsam trees, actually, the balsam fir. And then these trees get left standing, and they got red pine needles because they die, and so they're just really good. It's basically a tinderbox. So then we have these large expanses of these trees that die but are still standing. So when a fire happens, it gets really intense. We have a similar situation going on in our back 40. So it is the best thing to do to cut all that and burn it. So if a fire does happen, there's less overall fuel to burn.
Okay.
So we've had the group come in from BCC because they train. They specialize in natural resources in that school, and they train and have classes about burning and cutting down specific trees and the dead standing stuff to make sure that it's fire safe is what they would call it. So we had them come out here. They cut up a bunch of our dead standing trees. We've left a lot of the good ones that are used for wildlife like woodpeckers and things like that, but all the dangerous ones we've been getting to cut down and burn. And then we had Low Impact come out, and they added some trails as well. So we got lots of cool
after they dug all the snow out.
Right. So last year, I believe they had to wait till the ground was thawed. This year, they had to come while it was frozen, so they didn't ruin the stuff that they did for us in the past. And they had some big machines back there, and they were working really hard for a few days straight, and they just came back the other day to add another layer for us and clean it up a little bit. So we're real excited come spring when all that stuff's melted and settled. It's going to look really nice out there.
What would you say they added for feet to the trail? I would guess, what, close to 1,000 feet?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 800 feet?
Yeah. I mean, the swamp area alone is pretty...
To the
they added to it.
They didn't add to the trail. They improved the trail that Dr. Rogers and them had made, right?
The trail's already there. They made it so it's now much more accessible.
Fully ADA compliant,
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have people like Dr. Rogers, 83 years old, going out there, and we see kids that just take their first steps going out there. So it's really for all age groups, and that new path will help get everybody out there and see the cool stuff we have on the trail. The trail
was exciting because when you take a look at what Vermilion Community College did, you walk back there now, it's like, holy mackerel, Spencer, this is a lot of wide openness. But when you start to realize that all that thick forest we had was all dead, and it truly was dead, the majority of it, or it was invasive species, it is amazing what it's opened up to and what it'll do for the natural stuff to grow back. And you were telling me the other day when we walked out there that you won't believe how fast this will shoot up new stuff.
Right, this spring even, because you can see that the stuff they originally cut from us maybe 2 years ago already has bushes and shrubs that are about my height, and come spring or summer when they're in full foliage and you can see all the leaves, you can't even see through to where they get nice and filled in. That only took a year and a half, 2 years for that to kind of fill back in. So there's a lot of stuff in that seed bed just waiting for its chance to shoot up and start growing. Now we're going to give it its chance this spring because we cut a lot of that burn. That burning also recycles nutrients into the ground, which is great for the area. So we're going to have a really nice back 40 with hopefully lots of wildlife using that, and so our guests can experience that.
And in turn, it does a lot for us. It'll decrease immensely the fire spread chance.
Right.
because it takes away the fuel that fuels a fire. Yep.
Safety, peace of mind for us.
It gives good food for the wildlife out there, because you'll start seeing things like raspberries and blueberry plants and different things that start springing up that don't have to compete. Yeah.
Besides that spruce budworm, not a whole lot of things eat balsam.
No.
Even the deer, the white-tailed deer, they get through the middle of the winter where all the foods are done, and that is their least favorite thing. And a white-tailed deer will eat just about anything, and they still will eat the balsam, the last thing, because it's just not a very good wildlife food.
It's like when I used to have beets on my plate when I was a kid. That I'd push that off till last to eat, right? Because that's all I had left.
Right.
But no, the trail is an enhancement for the North American Bear Center. And many times there's wild bears out there that people actually see. Right. So the nature trail that they had originally put in here years ago is just being enhanced considerably so that people can walk back there safely.
Right.
Yet it's still natural and nice looking. But, and many things happen on that trail. I mean, we're going to do some different programs this year and all kinds of different things out there.
It'll expand our programming. It'll just add to the value that we have here, because not only do we have this awesome museum and the Ambassador Bears, but now we're going to have some pretty expansive and awesome nature trails for them to enjoy.
And we hope to utilize a lot of our interns that'll be coming and stuff like that, Looking at the list, let's see here, being we're on that one, we can talk about the interns. The spring interns arriving.
Yes.
And I know Sharon and Carolyn are excited to have them coming on board too, and volunteers. But again, we'll wait for a little bit later on the volunteer thing. But Spencer, go ahead and talk about the intern program this year.
Yeah, so we have our 6 summer Bear Educator interns coming. We got all 6 of them. Real excited to get them up here. They'll be coming in mid to late May. So as they start to come, you might start to hear new voices on the broadcast, and if you come visit the center on the tours, because they're going to be handling the bulk majority of that. And then we also have 2 Northwoods Ecology interns this year as well, which is
pretty
exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, so
did you hear that?
So they're going to be the ones, like we were just mentioning, about that programming on the trail. They're going to be taking that trail to the next level and doing programs out there, while continuing the programs we already have set up that have been, rock solid for us in the Ecology Hall. And
we do have a new program coming up too in the kids' cub room.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do, which is really neat and exciting, because we're going to it's going to be for the kids.
Right. Do we want to tell them about that, or should they have to come here to check it out?
We got to tell them a little bit about it. If you know anything about it, we should tell them a little bit. Yeah.
So, a while ago we started the really popular program, Curator Time. And it's gone through quite amount of changes since I've even been here. And now we think...
The name.
The name for one. Now we have 2 distinct programs that came out of one. One is specifically because the main attraction, or the cool part, was some of these littler kids get to experience holding, or sometimes even petting, a turtle, a snake, a toad, or even some pelts and furs from a beaver, or different animals and different educational items that we have. And obviously the bears are really cool, but the look on those kids' faces when they're holding the turtle and learning about them is really neat. So the new Cub Room program will actually be designed to get some of those younger audiences, direct interaction with some live animals, which will be really cool, while learning about them, obviously. And then, since we have that awesome 4 Seasons exhibit out in the Ecology Hall, we've decided to utilize that to its full potential and start doing programs with that. So
yes.
That'll be really exciting this year as well.
And it's good to talk about the animals that coexist with bears.
Right, and that's why they're here.
Right? That's why they're here. And it isn't just the ecology was another great idea from Dr. Lynn Rogers and the group, and that's just bloomed into quite the programs. We've got the aquarium back there. We got a new terrarium for the snake.
Yeah.
The snake should not escape anymore. We literally had a jungle of snakes in the ceilings, in the floors over the years, and I think now we got this handled.
Right. So for those of you who weren't coming because of that, now you can come.
Now you can come because we
got it under control.
We haven't tested it yet, but we're thinking we do, because we got a new terrarium that's supposed to be
snake-proof,
snake escape resistant. They don't say proof.
No, you're right.
Because it's just about us not leaving the top open, because they can stand up. Snakes can stand.
Yeah, you don't think with no legs they can, but they can.
Those gardener snakes are also hopping snakes. So I'll tell you what, they can move. But other than that, those programs, we got some of our normal programs that are going to still be in existence, which we always have fun with. I think what we're going to do now is I'm looking at my list.
Bring on
I'm going to bring on Sharon, and she's going to talk about bears. And I'm going to bring Carolyn on with her because they're so good together. We're going to let them talk to each other. Spencer and I will be back in a few minutes. But we're going to let Sharon talk about, half this list is Sharon. Sharon, get over here. How you doing? See what I mean? How she's the snow's up to my knees, about her shoulders? I'm kidding. Let's move over here just a little.
Honestly, he's not kidding because I thought he was messing with me because I know how deep the snow is at my house. And then I walked into Ted's enclosure and slurp. I went down past my knees.
We've seen just her fingers. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's an exaggeration. My toes were deep.
Well, you were way down there.
I was.
Spencer was like, I wonder if she's going to be able to get up. I said, let's watch. But, it's really great having Sharon back and Carolyn, and we'll let them move over here, and I'm going to let them Sharon talk about her topics, which will be the update on the bears. And we already talked about Ted's mouth, but she'll elaborate on that. And those moderators did a fabulous job on that mouth.
They did.
Tasha, they're going to talk about the feeding schedule, and then I think there's others like the half birthday fundraiser, stuff like that you're going to talk about. So, and then Carolyn's going to roll into with Sharon a few things that she's got, which is the talk about the Bear Center and what she's been doing through the Bear Center, and she's got some really cool things to talk about. And then talk about the volunteer programs and Volunteer Week coming up, which is exciting. That's next week already. What the heck?
It is.
Sure glad time is moving, except the snow ain't.
The snow just keeps coming.
Okay, but I'm going to hand the microphone over to them, and then when they get done, we're going to have Missy come out and talk about our gift shop, and we might have, if we can, Amy come with her, and maybe we could even get Deb over here, who's been working so hard in the store. She's from the New York area, and she really liked those Buffalo Bills. It's all we heard about. I don't know if she knows it or not, but they lost in the playoffs. That was actually the Super Bowl, I think. But
I do believe she knew that. Yeah. She was not happy.
But maybe we can get her over here and just talk about some cool things that she's done with the store. We'll see if Missy has that power. But here you go, Carolyn. Here's the microphone, and we'll see you in a few.
Well, we didn't think Scott was ever going to give us the microphones, but obviously he did. So he did have a lot to talk about. And I just have to reiterate on the snow. I mean, I know you folks see it on the cameras, and when I came back, we left Brighton, and it was sunny, and as we got towards the bridge, it was less sunny, and the temperature dropped maybe 2-3 degrees. But after we got into the UP, and we were very grateful that the bridge was actually open, because they've closed it many times this year due to falling ice and damaging cars and the wind. So we actually got over, and once we got through all the snow areas, we always dread that it was safe, and we got here. And then once we pulled into our driveway, our neighbor, who I'm very grateful for, Bob, he had plowed probably 5 feet of snow in front of the garage. So then he had to bring the Bobcat down so that we could actually get into the house. But that's how much snow is here, and there's no exaggeration when you see me sink in Ted's denning area. That's real. And sweet Ted, when we went out there for the first time a couple days ago, and he greeted us with his gentle woots, and he was just so excited to see us, and he got a head rub, of course, and then he actually moved the snow for us and made it. He would move it, then step on it, and move it and step on it, so he was ready to eat. And he got his first meal. It was dry with some blueberries, his trail mix with blueberries. So, and just to let you know, we do that every year so that when their tummies are starting to accept food, they don't just blow out. We start with a very light diet to begin with, and then go to their main meals and starting to feed them a little more as the season opens up. So. Talk a little bit about Ted's mouth. When I left last November, Ted was accepting food from my hand, and then, of course, we would make him sit up, which I know that was frustrating for you folks. But, within a week, Ted was sitting up to get the rest of his food. And we went now from his soft diet into just seeing if he could eat regular food, and guess what? He is ready. So he has done very well. The healing process went well, and he looks tremendous. I know you folks have focused in on his mouth, and that is very good because I keep those pictures just to show his veterinarian. But he looks excellent, and there's very little I can say else about that because I can't thank everyone enough. And Scott was the big promoter of we had given Ted so many antibiotics that it wasn't working. The infections were just finding new ways to get to pop up. And he did a tremendous job of arranging everything, and Ted did the best, though. Ted healed, and that's the most important thing. So thank you to everyone that helped and watched, and we're sorry if it was a little uncomfortable for you, but guess what? Ted persevered, and he did well, and we did our very best 100% to take care of our sweet Ted. So happy birthday to our 25-year-old Ted. And it's just amazing to know that he is 25 this year. And what else can I say? The Luckster is going to be, he is 15. And then we go down to the two girls who are, I believe, 7 and 9 this year. So, but as you've seen Holly in her antics when she came out, not much has changed. She was ready, and Tasha was ready to be chased. So they're all doing very well. And Lucky has come out to take a couple scoops of snow, but then right back into the den because it's still pretty deep up there. So that's kind of the rundown on our bears and the snow depth because, as you could see, it's still pretty deep. We'll start daily. I'll start daily feeding next Monday. So the bears, if they're out, they will eat. With Holly, it's up to her. She goes in for 3-4 days and comes out. That's on her time schedule. We're always on bear time here. I'll talk a little bit about the half birthdays. This year we are doing the piñatas again. And the voting for donating to what bear will get which piñata will start on May 29th and go through June 10th. And we will be giving the bears their piñatas on a live broadcast at on June 12th. So tune in for that. And I know that you folks tune in every day, and it's just a riot to see that some of the pictures that you folks come up with. Scott already talked about the new cages that are coming for evacuation. I can't tell you what a stress relief that is because we were pretty worried last year with the fires being so close to us as transportation for our 4 bears. So this year we don't, once we get them here, we'll of course, you'll be included on seeing them, but we're going to do practice things with the bears so that they get used to going in and out of them. These are nice ones, and of course the Ted's was excellent, and had we known we could get that kind, we probably would have got that kind, but we got the best that they have out there, and they are currently being manufactured, so we're happy about that. Let's see. I don't believe I have anything else other than if you have questions, you can, of course, text Kathy, and Kathy will ask me, but I think that's doing well, and we're going to go into what Carolyn. This is Carolyn, our volunteer coordinator, and also works with Dr. Rogers to develop all the exhibits in here. So here's Carolyn.
Well, hello, and welcome home.
Thanks.
It's always a little cheerier around here when Sharon shows up because she's always smiling and usually in a good mood. Fresh meat, I'm hearing from the background. Well, I'll first off, on my position as the exhibit curator, I'll give you some updates on what changed over the winter. We've updated 5 exhibits, and we've made 1 brand new exhibit. So there's some changes to the SCAT and some changes to tracking, and there are a lot of changes that you'll see in exhibits that were already here. But the new exhibit takes up quite a bit of room, and it is called The Year in the Life of a Black Bear, the 5 Stages. And Lynn and I worked on this for quite a while, and it goes through the 5 stages that the bear goes through in a 12-month period. So it starts with hibernation, and it ends with hibernation. And it's not, I won't say it's overly detailed, but it's detailed enough that you actually learn what happens to a bear and when breakup happens, and when birth happens, and what happens in birth, and it's actually a pretty good thing. Like I said, we've updated some exhibits, so for those of you that have been here before, you've got something new to look at. Some of it's new information, some is reformatted information put up in a different way, and we have lots of plans for more changes, so just to keep things fresh and updated. So that's our plan. We're going to continue that over the summer as well as the winter, and that's just an ongoing project, and my list is long, so job security on that one. The second thing that I do here is volunteer coordinator, and that is a fun job. And what I do is I coordinate the on-site volunteers, and I get them signed up, get them here, get them all set up, go through their initial guidelines and training and show them where everything is, let them know what our expectations are of them, find out what their questions are, and then depending on what time of year it is, they're going to do different things. If it's early spring or late fall before our interns are here, they're going to be a little more involved in bear care. During the year when our interns are here, those months, it's going to be more to do with working with the guests. There'll still be some bear contact as Sharon needs it or as Spencer needs it. But we have so many new things. I told you about the trail. We want to have volunteers out on the trail. We want to have volunteers up on the deck. We've got all sorts of fun things to do with the volunteers to sort of expand everything that's going on here at the Bear Center. Sharon's got, go ahead.
One of the important things about the volunteers that are inside or up on the deck is that they can answer questions for people, because sometimes we can't get up there when Holly's doing something or Tasha's doing something and they don't quite understand it. The folks that come up there are absolutely in awe of when Lucky, who is usually, when he comes out, he's still going to be in the 400-pound range, shoots up that tree and then lands on his butt. Everyone sees it, but it's just phenomenal that they can use their claws to hang on like that and get what they want and then go down the tree to finish chewing it up. So for the volunteers to have that information and give that to the folks that are up on the deck, it's information they didn't have and information that is well received by the guest. So they do have a very important function other than just feeding the bears. Feeding the bears is going to be part of it too, of course, but the information that they can give and explain to our guests is just absolutely wonderful for them to participate in.
And speaking of information that they don't have, one of the new things we made for this year is an interior visitor map. And this thing has gone through many, many iterations since the idea came up last fall. And it has morphed into so many different forms and kind of ended up back similar to where we started. After we thought we were making all these great changes, we'd look at it, nah. And I think we've got it now. I think Scott and Sharon and I and Missy, we've all been looking at it really hard, and Spencer's had his input on it. And it's going to be kind of a kiosk like you see at a shopping mall. It's going to be a large, it's 17 by 22, and it's going to be you are here with all the bears and things, all the taxidermy shown where that is, where the theater is, what's playing in the theater. We'll also, somewhere up in front, we don't know if we're going to add it to that sign or not, but the program information, because that changes, that's not going to be permanently on the map. But so that's been one of the fun things that we've been doing this winter is playing with that map and making it what we want, but yet keeping it simple enough that you don't need a degree or have written a thesis about topography to have the map in your hands. But a little bit about volunteers. Volunteers Week is next week, and we're going to have 2 live broadcasts next week, one on Monday, one on Wednesday. Both of them are going to be at 11 o'clock. And for the broadcast on Wednesday, we hope to have a special guest here, so stay tuned for that. We're going to do our best. I'll go over some of the hours that we've had. We had an incredible amount of hours put in by volunteers last year, and we so appreciate that. It just makes things run much more smoothly. And coordinating the volunteer program with the intern program is working really well. And we went over some of the bumps and things we had, because last year was kind of the first year we tried incorporating the plan that we had with those 2 programs. And as the intern program changes, the volunteer program is altered a little bit too. And it's working really well. And the feedback I get from the guests here on site is good. So we're going to continue on that path. And we'll see where it gets us this year. But we're making good progress, and we have a lot of good volunteers. And we had a lot of interest in new applications from people that were here last summer that want to be volunteers, so we'll see just where we're going. But we'll have more on that next week with more of the details. So I think Scott's wandering back over here now, and Spencer.
We're giving them back their mics here.
They are wandering now.
What time do we feed the bears today? 10 o'clock. So we're feeding right now Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. for you out there that had that question that came out, and we'll give you more of an update as time goes, but weather-wise. But, thanks, you guys. Thanks for doing a great job. It's good to have Sharon back here. I like that feisty Irish lady. She's just amazing. She swears she's not Irish. I don't know where she gets that from. She is, definitely. But, it's kind of funny. She brought up a couple things that I was thinking about when we were – you must be cold, huh?
I put on a jacket during intermission.
You talk about the Bear Center and operations and everything, and trying to figure out a budget this year. That was interesting with the heat bills.
Yeah.
We came off of a propane bill of 99.9 cents per gallon, 14,000 gallons pre-bought at 99.9. We ran out of propane at the beginning of this month. Actually, it was the last week of last month.
It was a cold winter.
The heat in this place is down to 50 degrees because it is now 379.9. 379.9. Oh, yeah, well, 55, 50, I don't know. We got to turn down to Arctic temperatures. And if you see us when we're off the set here, we are, these guys, I actually like this temperature. It's warm to me.
You're the only one that dresses normal at work still. You enjoy it.
I do. I like the cool. The heat is what I don't like, but that was a budget challenge.
Right. That was purely budgetary.
And even food, we've talked to Sharon about the food cost. I can't tell you how much, just Sharon is sitting over here, but talking about how much it helped the Bear Center and the Bears for you people sending food from the Amazon sites. And
the wish list.
The wish list site was just
that was awesome.
Fantastic. And we're going to really need a lot of help this year because we're not going to be feeding a whole lot of, I talked to Sharon about it, we're going to be feeding more natural stuff. It's going to be tough on the fruit. The romaine, of course, we got a romaine problem. Where they've got E. coli.
That seems cyclic. I feel like every few years we get a problem with the romaine.
Going on. But fruit and all that stuff has gotten just expensive.
Yeah. Well, so is everything, right?
Yeah. So we're looking at a lot of help with the nuts and the dried stuff, and Sharon will have a list out there again,
right.
I'm sure.
But for those who don't know, if you're shopping on Amazon or you want to support the Bear Center, we have a wish list out there. You can find it on our website. Yeah. So if you want to donate something specific, check out our wish list because there's all kinds of good stuff. Most of it is bear foods and stuff like that, but there's all kinds of stuff.
Well, we had I want to say close to $5,000 worth of donated in-kind donation food last year.
Yeah, it's unreal.
And other items. I mean, and that's huge. It's just huge. And we
right.
actually got an actual feeding budget together of what it really costs to feed the bears. And if anybody ever doubts that they're not fed good for 6 months,
we can show you the bill.
It's huge, but it should be, because they're huge animals.
Right.
And they need to go in healthy.
Right. And that's it right there. Healthy. We want them healthy. Right.
Another thing that sparked me with Sharon was talking about Ted. And I don't think that Sharon or myself or any of us can out there, you guys too, can say enough about the care that Ted got with the University of Minnesota. And I did not do a shout out to them. They did a fantastic job. They had, I think they said, Kristen, our veterinarian, said they had, one time, 12 people in there. 12 people. That total bill was $2,600. That was for anesthesiologists.
Right.
I mean,
there was a lot of discounts there, I think.
I can't get nothing done that cheap.
Right.
But I got to tell you something. I mean, that came in so far under budget, and everything did, and
they went
fantastic. We had Morrow here at midnight when Ted came back.
Right, with some machinery.
Sharon was here. Everybody was here. And we had numerous volunteers out here, and it was glare ice the night that Ted came back. And Sean and Kristen drove, what was it? I think there was 25 miles an hour.
Right. Well, so that trip from Ely to the Twin Cities is usually roughly 3.5, 4 hours. It was
from the U, it's a little further.
Right. It was about 8 for them, I think,
or
more.
Yeah.
They had a bear in tow.
Yeah, it was kind of
and
funny.
the bad conditions.
It was kind of funny because we're all wondering, where are they? They said they were in Virginia. They hit glare ice.
Yeah, they couldn't drive very fast at all.
They were worried about making sure that nothing happened to Ted.
Right.
So they were driving, and they are animal lovers. I think they've got 25, 30 dogs.
Right.
Too, because they're mushers, and they just love for animals is amazing. But they wanted to make sure that he got back, and all the people that helped out getting Ted back out of there. And I ain't kidding you. This is what brought me to talk about this. You want to talk about being worried about a bear? I mean, that bear was on our computer day and night when he was here, and not wanting to move very good. In fact, I was getting worried. I think everybody out there probably was watching him on that camera. And we had a veterinarian who was solid as a rock, and a veterinarian staff in the Twin Cities at the University of Minnesota that were, at any given moment, we could talk to them. And I think it was Saturday, Sharon, wasn't it? Or was it Saturday or Sunday? Saturday, when I just got really super paranoid about it and worried, and I said, I got to call up our vet at the U of M, who is a top-notch doctor. And I talked to Kristen, and we called him, and he said, get in there and give that bear another shot of reversal to come out of the anesthesia, because he had so much fat. And I think 2 hours later, he was crawling and back in his house, and he started his recovery. Yeah, within a few minutes. I mean, and I'll tell you, you want to talk about relief? I mean, it was like a ton of weight got lifted off your shoulders. But Kristen was on the spot, in the vehicle. I picked her up from her house, and up here we came, 20 miles, and she gave that bear that shot. And we met, and it was amazing. Sharon's coming over now. But it was. Well, no, it just was amazing to see the teamwork, don't you think?
Yeah, it was excellent teamwork, and some folks have said, well, the veterinarians are afraid of the bears. Guess what? They're not.
No.
And she was right down there, right beside Ted, and it's the care. I get very emotional about it, but the care was just totally amazing. And if I needed anything, if I had one question, there wasn't a time when Scott or I couldn't ask her. So it was just phenomenal. So thank you all from top to bottom. Thank you all.
And anytime you guys thought that you were concerned about him rocking and rolling and not being able to move, you can double, triple that stress on us, because we wanted all you out there to be happy, but mainly we cared about Ted coming around, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, and even Spencer had his friends come in on.
Oh, that's right.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And get the cage out of the area. We just had a group of people that just pulled together.
And that's really, that's something, right? The support system that the Bear Center has is absolutely crazy.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, people are coming out of the woodwork. Morrow had his Bobcat here to load and unload Ted.
He was also just like that too. He's like, "Well, I'm on call. Just let me know." And we didn't have a time for him, but when we called, he was right here, ready to go.
11 o'clock that night, he was sitting out here with his Bobcat, running it, waiting patiently, and that bear was not light. That bear cage was not light. And I seen people lifting stuff that I knew the next day. All of us were not going to be in the best of shape. We did it anyway. We did, didn't we?
Right.
And thanks to all your support is what pushed us to do it, and Ted, of course. But and actually, when you take a look at Cindy, his his mom, really his first mom and always mom, calm as could be, really supported us heavily. We want to thank her for supporting us so much. I mean, I just had to go back to that. I didn't want to. I know we've been going a long time now. It's almost an hour. But now we're going to move on here, and they're going to talk real nice and slow. But we're going to have Missy and Amy come on, and they're going to show you some store stuff. So just keep in tune. We're still going here. We don't get on here very often, but here comes Amy, and here comes here comes the manager, Missy, and they're going to talk about a few things here. So. For those of you who don't know Amy is our business manager, and we want to say, give her a shout out to Amy and Missy. You've known Missy for quite a while now. She's been here how many years?
12.
12 years. Wow. Who would have known that? Tasha was 7. And Holly's, 7 years old?
Yeah.
Holly's 9, you said? Lucky's 15, and Ted is 25. He's a quarter of a century. I got to tell you, I was there one time. It's a long time ago. But you've been here 12 years, so you've seen Tasha come.
Yep.
You've seen Holly come.
I did.
And you've experienced all that fun.
I did. Thank you.
So we'll give we'll give this microphone to Amy, and we'll get out of your way. But I just had to point that out. You've been here as long as those bears.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Go for it.
Well, hello everybody. We just wanted to show you guys some new product I've been adding to the web store, and I think Carolyn and Sharon are going to hand it to us.
Yeah.
Here they come.
We got some new cute
These
stuff
guys
now.
are the cutest things ever. We love them. This is a little bear. Their names are Spudster. This looks like Tasha. That's what Sharon said. I wonder why she said that. That's kind of cute little thing for any of the grandkids or your kids or a gift for anybody. We have another ladies' little shirt here that's got a nice V-neck and just up north, and then our name drop on it. Kind of just a little purple and black color. Just something kind of simple. But these are just a couple of the sneak peeks of us. And this is a PVC pipe. You can buy them at all your local hardware stores. Yeah. It's going to be a certain beat and stick later.
Well, this year we started ordering our product for our gift store earlier than normal because over the summer we had delayed shipping, and we're still struggling with that. But things have been coming in. Some things come in a few at a time, and still struggling with back orders, especially with the stuffed animals. Those seem to be.
Yeah, a lot of the plush or anything, like a lot of kid-related items, books, and some of the toys and that. I'm going to have a hard time getting those in. I'm still getting products that I ordered 4 or 5 months ago, and I'm just now getting them in. And even I'm not able to always get the quantity I want. So we will be struggling with that this year, but we're trying our best, as we always do, to keep everything in stock and keep fresh new items in for you guys, too.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of new items this year due to that. Having to not being able to get shipped our previous items that we usually have. But one thing I do as the business manager, I do the bookkeeping, and you know none of this is possible without your donations and shopping online at our gift store and coming here and visiting us and your memberships, those all of those admissions, they add up to what makes this place possible. Without that, we wouldn't be able to run. So we really appreciate anything and all that you do for us, and we're hoping to get a good turnout this summer. You know, it's a little hard with the gas prices the way they are. We don't know how that's going to be, but hopefully, people will still be up for traveling and stopping in and visiting us.
This is true, and Amy said that really great. So, yeah, we thank you for everything that you guys do. Yeah, I think, Scott, I don't know what else you guys have left to talk about. I mean, we do talk here. We do like to hear ourselves. But, yeah.
I can do this one, too.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Bye.
I think Spencer's going to come back out
Thanks,
here.
Izzy.
I didn't know we carried PVC pipe at the
we
store.
do.
That's really
yeah,
nice.
it's very pretty.
I don't have to drive so far to get it at Menards
right.
or wherever in town here, right?
Well, I'll hand this over. Yes. Spencer,
Thanks,
you want
guys.
to... No, I'm just kidding.
When we look at our store, our gift shop inventory, I always call it store. I call the whole place store. But we look at our gift shop inventory and we look at the things that they've got. That's only a little bit of what's brand new here. They work hard at that stuff, all off season.
Right.
Pretty much. But like she said, some of the stuff is months old. And I know that wasn't that long ago that we got a box of sweatshirts in, hooded sweatshirts. She had to send back because they were filthy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were busted open in the packaging.
And they were filthy.
Looked like there'd been mice living in the box.
So, some of that stuff is a little interesting, but the quality's there. Everything's looking good.
Right.
And
it's just been different.
we really can use the help. All the purchases that are made go to support the North American Bear Center. Any of the profit from it goes directly to the Bear Center to help support our mission and Dr. Lynn Rogers' mission. But other than that, I think we've covered everything. I know that next week we're going to be on live twice. I think it's Monday and Wednesday, did Carolyn say?
I think that is correct.
Yeah, and 11 o'clock Central Time, which is Ely time. And I guess that's about all we've got. Do you have anything else, Spencer?
Well, you say that's about all we got.
That's
and,
a lot that
we
got.
went about an hour.
Over an hour. Yeah, I guess I can't complain about us talking today, huh?
I think that about sums it up.
Well, we did have a lot to go over, but we want to thank everybody that tuned in, and we want to thank all the people that we missed thanking. And it's just sometimes hard to get up here, and you forget about certain individuals.
Yeah.
I want to thank all the moderators and the pond chatters and everybody out there that helps out. I know my wife was sure enjoying watching Tasha and Holly on, was that Friday night, Sharon, that I was texting you till 9:30? Watching Holly roll around on her back legs and everything else. In fact, I think Sharon was getting sick of me texting her because she finally told me she was going to go to bed, and then I kept right on going. But I know that my wife certainly does enjoy tuning in to watch the Bears. She'll be I'm watching TV, and she's like, "Oh, look at what that one just did." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And then, "Oh, look at this." Yeah, all right. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. So, for those of you out there that tuned in, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Monday and Wednesday. Karen will be tuning in, and all of us. And we're hoping to grab onto a couple special guests for the Volunteer Week deal. And I know that Mo's going to be coming here, which will be exciting. He hasn't been here for a long time.
Yeah.
So hi to Mo out there. We'll be looking forward to seeing those donuts, and you too. But Mo always brings donuts.
Always.
But he said he's going to Quick Trip. I thought maybe he could find like a really super fresh bakery. But Quick Trip is good. We'll take anything. And right now we're going to sign off as we're dealing with some blizzard-like conditions.
Some sideways rain.
Sideways rain and snow. And we'll be talking to you next Monday and Wednesday. Stay tuned on Friday for our opening date. It could change this Friday. So tune into our website to see if that opening date changes to the 29th. My guess right now is that it could, but we'll wait and see. You never know. The weather forecast next week could look good.
Yeah.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
Signing off. Thank you for joining. Bye now.